what have Christians done that warrants churches getting attacked in the north? Kukah asked. Matthew Hassan Kukah, the Catholic Bishop of Sokoto Diocese, reacting to questions on Deborah not yet getting justice after she was murdered in Sokoto by angry mobs over alleged blasphemy, and also the recent killing of over 30 persons in southern Kaduna by notorious bandits, expressed displeasure that Christians are still vulnerable and their facilities remained an object of target practices in northern Nigeria at the slightest provocation. He wondered why facilities in the northern Nigeria belonging to Christians get attacked at the slightest provocation. He stressed that these facilities are beneficial to everyone irrespective of their religious beliefs. Yet they remained object of target practices. He went on to question why youth in Sokoto angrily attacked churches and other Christian facilities simply because the government disclosed that those who had a hand in Deborah's death would be brought to justice. Bishop Kukah made this known during an interview with Arise Television. You know what? I don't know, definitely during Christmas time and, not even Christmas time, but particularly during Christmas time, but anyhow, throughout the year, a lot of Christian properties or Christians do get attacked in the north, and, we hear so many reports about this so many times. And of course, Matthew Hassan Kukah, the Catholic Bishop of Sokoto Diocese, all he can do is literally react and say this and say, I do not approve of this, or, my condolences to this family as a result of this attack. But what is actually getting done about it? Nothing. And I think, to be honest, where, the moral stand, or because for example, you'd expect that in a very religious society, an individual like Matthew Hassan, his statement would be expected to, I guess, influence people to behave right because he sort of has that moral standing. But that is not happening. And more than just the government stepping in, because the government said that we're going to bring justice to this person and get to this, individual Deborah that has just passed, and it has triggered and provoked these attacks. So then where the governments, cannot do anything, and when, religion or moral standards can't even, I guess, give opinion to be listened to, then it really shows a deep societal problem that goes beyond just the government and, I guess, morals, because it just still, till today, highlights the divide between the North and the South. And then what highlights the difference more is obviously, the effect of, let's say, it goes into the tribes, the Biafran War, because you'd expect that it's safe to assume that most Christians in the North would be from the South, particularly most from the Southeast. And so it is a bit shameful, to be honest, because then it really shows the societal divide between the North and the South. But of course, it does not mean that every single person, there's such a big thing going on, but we cannot, rule out the aftermath of, let's say, the Biafran War and the tension that still goes on between the north of Nigeria and the south of Nigeria. Looking at the comments below, we can see someone says the only explanation is that Islam cannot stand on factual grounds with Christianity, hence they're in perpetual panic wherever Christianity is. Don't just argue, let Islam remove violence and stop Christians from preaching as well as killing apostles, and let's see if Islam will still be here next year. You obviously have extremists, and to be honest, when it comes to religion and violent attacks, Islam has a bit more, to be honest, in terms of the stereotype and association with that. But again, as you say, we can use common sense to analyze situations and understand that there are extremists in every religion. And so using your religion to justify behaviors that may not seem right already is wrong. But then using your religion to justify, I guess, things that conventionally is okay, fine. For example, killings and attacks on people and destruction of properties, and using religion as an excuse, then obviously we know that is definitely wrong. So really, more than just that, I feel like the intolerance and the hatred, it goes deep beyond religion, because if you're really going to be honest, like, Nigeria is very big, and if you go historical, there's always been that tension between the north and the south, and no one's going to be a fool to say, well, it's just religion. No, it's deeper than religion, because even before religion, the north and the south of Nigeria, which, they were not Nigeria at the time, they still had that clash anyways. So really, I think, obviously, when we're talking about education and just progressiveness and moving forward, it is very complicated, and I guess that's why Nigeria is a federation. I mean, you have people with different views on how, again, how do you have a democracy, a presidential democracy, and then you also want to have religion, and then, for example, the introduction of Sharia law, and then what was this police? Is it the Hispa police that, again, for some reason, felt like they could override what the police is, or the police force in the country, which, again, does not make sense. But in a country that is so disorganized and everything is like everywhere, you have different, the Hisba cops, yes. So they're responsible to the enforcement of Sharia law only to Muslims in Kano State and other parts of northern Nigeria, which is, again, it's like, wait, what? So you have some people that are subject to different aspects of the law. It's just so much confusion, first of all. Of course, intolerance, which is definitely a big thing. But in terms of tackling this issue, I think security in itself has to be tackled first. And when it comes to bandits and just, criminals being put in jail, and actually, when we actually see justice, I feel like, in a way, it would obviously reduce and serve as a deterrent to others who may want to commit crimes, because really, we can't just snap our fingers and everything changes. But it's going to be a gradual change for this to stop. But again, if you look at the north and the south, especially during Christmas time, it is disgusting. The amount of killings in the north is just like, wait, what? And again, you can't really stop movement of people, right? It's like you're literally going against development and progression. People move everywhere. And so you still find that there will be southerners that are in the north and doing their business, and not every southerner in the north is going through this, but we hear of these stories, especially during Christmas time, and then think about the stories that do go unheard. It's absolutely mind-boggling and very sad. Put what you think about this in the comment section below, and do not forget to like and subscribe.